Yo, see, this is what I thought. It's already been a little spiky on my end, but whatever. It doesn't matter, whatever. Yeah, so obviously you can see our faces now. This is our face reveal. We are a group of minorities, as you can tell, black and brown body.
That's hilarious.
Oh this is Jinbe Parley. Yeah, if you're listening and for the first time today, watching, we are here to talk about One Piece. We are on break this week, which sucks, but Oda's got to nurse his health, so we'll be back talking about chapters next week. But in the meantime, we're going to do something that we like to do, which is to discuss a topic, just what we call like hot takes. And if you're reading the title, you obviously know what we're going to talk about. And it is the Jinbe disrespect is at peak levels and it needs to be stopped. Oda must be stopped. I am ckin, and I'll pass it off to my co-host to introduce themselves, and we'll dive right in.
What up, y'all? Peace and blessings. It's Mr. Wild and Free.
What up, Batch Ketchum here. Let's get it.
Let's do it. All right, so what the heck are we talking about? We are here to talk about Jinbe, and we're here to talk about the amount of disrespect that he gets just from existing, and we're going to start from the very beginning. Okay, all right. So here's my take. Obviously, you guys can argue with me or whatever, but I think Jinbe,
that's all I'm here to do.
Jinbe is like, I mean, he is my favorite Straw Hat of like the New World arc, right? And which isn't saying much because he's the only Straw Hat that's been invited to the crew in the New World. But I don't know. Just that being said, I mean, I remember back in the day, the fandom would always think about like, ooh, like, who's going to be the next new Straw Hat of this arc? Like, what does the crew need? And all this other kind of stuff. And like, how many are going to be joining the crew in the Grand Line, or how many people are going to join the crew in the New World or whatever, right? Like, oh, it's going to be 10. Luffy said there's going to be 10 members of the Straw Hat crew. There's one more, whatever. And like, even as far as Egghead Island, everybody was speculating, oh man, like Bonnie, she's going to be the next Straw Hat. She's got a dream. They need like an apprentice, as if that's like some kind of real legitimate role, which it's not. Like, that's stupid and like ridiculous, but whatever. I mean, that's the One Piece fandom for you. Sorry guys if you take offense to that, but it is what it is.
But Killer Cam, we are the One Piece fandom.
I am a separate part of the fandom. I stick my nose up at you guys. I am the Boa Hancock of the fandom. But like, no, I mean, so like, we have all of this buildup with Jinbe. Okay, so let me reframe. Where are we at with Jinbe? Jinbe is just another guy on the crew. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to have in this moment a lot of impact in the story. Like his shining moment of all of the New World, I'll give him 2. And we'll get into this more specifically, but I'll give him 2. Him sacrificing himself to let the crew escape, which, by the way, we're going to get into that because that made absolutely no sense that he came out of that unscathed. And like, everybody was like,
he swam out of there, boy. He's fast.
First son of the sea, man.
No, everybody's like, he's going to like lose a limb. He's going to like have to answer to Big Mom. And like, nothing happened. Like, we all thought like, oh, he's going to get nerfed because he's so strong. He's going to be like, 30 years older. Nope, nothing happens, but whatever. And then we see, obviously, Jinbe, reunites with the crew on Wano and then does his, like, I mean, I'm going to call it stupid, but I don't.
What?
I'm going to call it stupid. He does this stupid little, like, perfectly goes through the waves. He's the ultimate helmsman. It's like, what are we talking about? Like, I know we got to, like, create a role for him, but this is stupid. Like, but we're going
to What's wrong with him, like,
bro,
that thing like that,
dumb, bro? It's dumb. Like,
you a hater.
No, bro, it's dumb. Like, can we just be honest? Like Oda just made up a role for him. It's like, no one has a helmsman on their crew. Like, it's not a thing.
That's a perfectly valid
No. Like, they never needed one in the past, and now all of a sudden they need one. Just
that's
because,
like
he's like a big strong guy.
Right until they met a real shipwright.
The getaway driver, man. Bro. He knows the waves. He knows the ocean.
Baby.
They've never needed that role. They've never talked about that role. They've never hinted at that role. They've never been in a position where it's like, it seems like all the times where they have like some kind of crazy, weird weather occurrence or whatever, like Nami helps them navigate it and they throw up the sails or whatever at the right time. And like, then Frankie comes along and he's got, the coupe de burst or whatever.
Exactly.
And then they get out of it, whatever, and it's fine. I'm not saying that it's a completely superfluous role. I guess what I'm saying is like Oda just made it up to justify adding Jinbe to the crew, which I'm fine with, but I just think it's a little silly. Like, you
I think
need
he
a helm.
rushed through it.
You need a helmsman all of a sudden. It's like whatever. I mean, I
was with it.
don't think. Let's just be
What
honest.
was he? What was he gonna do? Make him the crew fisherman?
No,
Right.
but let's just be real for a second, which is kind of funny because I feel like Sanji's definitely still making fish dishes for the crew. So I wonder how Jinbe feels about that. But like,
I'm sure he's still eating fish too.
he's like, sorry, buddy.
Like sushi.
But like, I don't know. Okay, all right. So like, I want to kind of get us back. So that is present day Jinbe, right? He's just kind of there, in my opinion. He doesn't have that much impact on arcs. I mean, what did he really do in Fishman Island? I'm sorry, not Fishman Island. Egghead. Like, does anybody remember? I think he like blocked an attack or something like that. He's just kind of there, right? Like, you might remember the design that he had. Like, he's wearing like a funky Hawaiian shirt. Didn't really do anything. Seriously. I mean, like, think about what Jinbe did during that arc, other than to like get Zoro to get away from Lucci at the end.
I mean, yeah, but the same thing.
I'll go get
I mean,
Zoro.
honestly, that's more of a role than what Nico Robin had, or Usopp, or kind of Nami. Like,
Brooke.
it's not to say that
Man, we
every
talked about
Brooke,
Usopp.
right?
He's a broken man.
And so, so
Usopp, nerf.
I look at it in that way where it's like, okay, not every single arc, every single Straw Hat has to have a defining moment or a major, influence on what's unfolding, right? And so I'm going to give him credit for Egghead because it's like he didn't need to be doing anything in particular, right? But his presence was there, right? Like we have that moment when he showed up with, I believe it was Chopper, and they first saw Luffy when he revealed his Gear 5 when he was fighting Rob Lucci. The moment that you were talking about, the Hawaiian shirt, just like the funny gags that he had in that. I think that overall, right, he has this kind of like uncle / father figure kind of presence on the crew. So like he has a sense of rationality, but glee that is a bit opposite of what Nico Robin represents, right? Nico Robin was always a bit more on the mature side, but she has that dark humor, right? Where it's like you kind of lean into her character perspective and she's kind of silly, but it's very dark and menacing. Whereas like you go to like, Jinbe, it's very bright and uplifting and kind of optimistic. And so I think that as far as the helmsman thing, perfect role. And he executed it well. When they displayed it, that's how I feel about it. Even if they weren't talking about, like they need a helmsman, it's like one of those things like, okay, you do something well enough until somebody else comes around and shows you that it can be done better. And then they fill that role well enough to their expectations. Because it's like, to your point, right? Okay, they didn't need quote unquote a helmsman because Nami might help them navigate. Frankie might use the Kuda burst and all of the features of the Sunny in order to help them get through a situation, right? But that was what they were using to make do with what they had, right? Same thing with pre-Frankie. Usopp was quote unquote a shipwright until someone else better came along and was like, okay, I got this from her, right? And so that's what Jinbe really did with that helmsman role. It's like, okay, I see y'all were doing what y'all could do in regards to navigating the seas, but let me show up in the best ways that I can.
Yeah.
And I can be the helmsman that will get you all through situations that, maybe y'all could have frantically or like MacGyvered your way through, but I'm going to get you through this situation with finesse.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that Jinbe, every crew needs a Jinbe. Every crew needs a getaway driver. You got to have that guy that just
Right.
has that ability. And it does seem rushed a little bit, but as far as him just sticking him there at the helmsman spot, like Killer Cam said. Well, Killer Cam said that he the only thing he remembers was the Hawaiian shirt. It made me think of Jinbe's like Tito from Rocket Power, bro.
That's
Like
hilarious.
he's got the good vibes, the Hawaiian shirt, and he just
Yes.
like philosophical, like Unk vibes towards Luffy. Like
For
that's
sure.
the relationship.
I'm glad that you said that, dude. Because like, here's something that I think most people forget. Jinbe was the captain of his own pirate crew and was strong enough to become a Shichibukai. As far as we know, maybe even like the first fisherman to do that. You know what I mean? To be recognized by the world government in that way, like as a fisherman, to like be made a Shichibukai.
Was he a warlord? He was a warlord.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
he
what he's
was
saying.
yeah,
Shichibukai. The war.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, so the point being is like, here's what I think. I mean, I love Jinbe, I really do, because I think just like and we'll get to like how Jinbe is introduced in his relationship with Luffy and like why he was so special to the crew. Well, really to Luffy. I mean, him and Luffy should be like this, right? But
Yeah.
the reason why I love Jinbe so much is because, he is this kind of like sort of kind of like the older generation, right? Like he is a seasoned pirate, right? He's been there, he's done that. Like he's been around like the greats to some degree. I don't know how old officially Jinbe is. I got to look it up. I mean, I know that like obviously Brook is the oldest member of the crew, but like Jinbe is the old head, right? He is like
Yeah.
punk status because he's been around, and he's been around in like a powerful position, right? Not just as a pirate of his own or a captain of his own crew, but attaining the status of a Shichibukai along with other fellows like fucking. I'm gonna have to bleep that out, but like Boa Hancock, Doflamingo, like Gecko Moria, like Kuma, like these are people like even Kuma to some degree. It's like there was no interaction between Jinbe and Kuma on Egghead, which is kind of crazy because it's like these were people. I mean, they didn't spend like a ton of time with each other, but they met up every now and then. They should have like a relationship with each other. So like Jinbe, like there should have been some kind of interaction or at least some kind of reaction from Jinbe of like this is someone who like I used to know and like effectively work with, but we don't really get that. And I'll get into kind of the details in a bit, but like the way that we're introduced to Jinbe, right, is ultimately through Ace, right? It's the first real arc where Luffy is by himself, obviously excluding the opening of the show with, him busting out of the barrel and meeting Kobe and, eventually finding Zoro. But Luffy is like on his little path, right, of, ultimately trying to save his brother, right? And we see Jinbe talking with Ace, right? And they're talking about Luffy and like what he's doing and in the process of breaking out of Impel Down and all this other kind of stuff. And we're introduced like where they have like a little bit of an antagonistic relationship because they have a history together. Obviously, Ace was part of the Whitebeard Pirates, and I guess they would clash or whatever with Jinbe as like either before he was a Shichibukai or whatever. But that they both have a respect for each other because Jinbe is also one of the only people to have been, I guess, in the baptism level or whatever, where he gets thrown in and he like didn't make a sound in terms of like boiling water or whatever it was. So he's introduced as like he's a hardened dude. He has like a very strong will not be like broken. I mean, honestly, he should have conquered Saki in my opinion, but like very strong dude, nobody to mess with. And, there's again like a begrudging respect. And he learns about Luffy through Ace. Then obviously Luffy gets down there, Ace gets brought up, they miss each other. Luffy meets Jinbe, and Jinbe is just enamored by Luffy because he's heard so many, positive stories about him from Ace and decides to help him break out, right? I mean, just the idea that like Luffy's the person to break out Jinbe, right? Like, that's a major thing, right? And then skip through. I mean, Luffy is getting his rematch with Magellan. He's escaping with. He survives like the poison. He's escaping with effectively. Some of the Kamabaka Kingdom kind of members that were in prison, along with Ivankov. It's Jinbe that saves effectively Luffy, and also, by the way, Jinbe is, I think, one of the only person who like grabs Luffy and is like, "This is not the moment to fight Blackbeard." Because remember, Blackbeard and Luffy cross paths.
Yeah.
Jinbe's always like, "Dude, we got to go. Come on, we got to go save Ace. Like, I know that you want to square up with Blackbeard, but like, this isn't the time. There are more important things. We got to get out of here."
Yeah,
like that's it. Jinbe is the guy on Luffy's shoulder. Like, he is like the guiding kind of voice of wisdom, right? Through experience,
right.
Through just like
the Uncle Iroh,
the number one advisor.
Yeah. Exactly. He's like the consigliere, right? Like he's like, I'm the person who's like in your corner, trying to like kind of get you to see the bigger picture. Saves them with the whale sharks, right? When they're trying to get out of the gate closed or whatever. It's Jinbe and his relationship with effectively being able to talk to sea life that gets them out of there, right? Fast forward, obviously, Jinbe is, supporting, Luffy and I guess the rest of the, kind of escaped inmates and ultimately Whitebeard Pirates in Marineford. And then, Jinbei is the person who, along with Law, saves Luffy when Luffy is catatonic after Ace's death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jinbei is the
Major
person.
role.
Fast forward again. This is still pre-time skip. Fast forward again. Jinbei is the person who breaks Luffy out of effectively his depression. Luffy
Right,
comes
Sure.
back and
And
he's
he-
like, I am not going to be able to become the pirate crew because I can't even protect my
Right.
crew and I lost my brother. There's nothing else that effectively to live for. I'm done. Jinbei is the person who reminds him in that just super emotional, cathartic moment. You have people that still care about you and you still have a dream that you have to go after. It reminds him of his crew.
Send him
That
back
was
on
the
track.
impact of Jinbei.
Let's not forget too. Let's not forget. Just before that moment, he donated his blood to save Luffy's life.
No, that's Fishman
That
Island.
was
No, that's Fishman Island. That happens in Fishman. That happens in Fishman. But we'll get to that in a second.
He still did that. I mean,
He still did
it's a
that.
valid
Did
point.
he do that in the? I don't remember if he did that.
I swear
in
that was just
sort of blood transfusion.
The blood transfusion was so specific to the history of Fishman Island. I'm pretty sure that happened in Fishman Island. But either way, it's he brings Luffy to Law's ship where Law saves him from effectively dying in the post Marineford whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then either way, he brings him from the brink of depression when he re-inspires him in his dreams. Ultimately, he stops Luffy from giving up on his dreams. That's the biggest moment in the entire series. If you really think about it objectively, Luffy was this close to giving up on his dreams. Jinbei brings him out of that. But fast forward, basically, you have Fishman Island where, basically Jinbei says, I got to go to Fishman Island. I'm kind of in this thing with Big Mom. I got to go take care of something down there. Luffy says, okay, all right, we'll link up later. Luffy goes to Fishman Island. Obviously, they link up. They battle the, new Fishman pirates or whatever. And then Luffy is hurt and, they do the little blood transfusion. And it's this really nice cathartic moment of humans and, fishmen having a stronger kind of relationship, right? Fast forward after that. Because Jinbei basically says, listen, I still have to take care of this Big Mom thing. This is on me. I'm going to handle this, whatever. And then we'll link up. And then Luffy's you're a part of my crew. Because this is when he asked him. It's this arc, Fishman Island, where Luffy asked Jinbei to join the crew. And he says, I will, I want to. I just got to handle some things first. And then he goes to Big Mom, right? And obviously there's Zoe in between. But he goes to Whole Cake Island. That's, where we're kind of getting these I guess flash forwards, right? Or asides where Jinbei's in front of Big Mom. And this is where we get the introduction of the roulette wheel, right? And we're scared for Jinbei. As fans, we're afraid for Jinbei because we're thinking crap, Big Mom is really strong. She's the first Yonko that we're seeing. We've seen, or at least other major Yonko other than Whitebeard. But basically she can kind of do what she wants, and there's nothing that Jinbei can reasonably do about it because she's just so powerful and he's in her territory. And how's he going to get out of this or whatever? And we're thinking, okay, the way that he's going to be able to get out, because he's respectful, he's formal, he's we have this alliance, I'm going to break it because there's another captain that I want to follow. It's going to be Luffy. And she's like, okay, you can leave, but the deal, the drill, it's going to be years off of your life or death, or you're going to miss a limb, arm, leg, whatever. And the drill, basically this is what it's going to be. And then we don't see Jinbei for a while. And then we basically go through Whole Cake Island, and then Jinbei pops up and, is effectively helping the crew escape. And then, you have that moment where Luffy tells him listen, don't you die here because you are a member of my crew and I expect you to, reunite with us. Right. And then
that moment was so goated.
Jinbei, don't die, bro. Yeah.
It's amazing.
He was listen, I'm your captain now.
Yeah, he's you listen to me now, and you cannot die. I'm not allowing you to die here. And then you have this really amazing moment where we see Jinbei, he's unharmed, or at least I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting this correctly because I remember feeling the time that we would see him when he came to Wano, I think we were all kind of expecting him to be kind of hurt or messed up or something like that. But either way, either way, it's right.
We knew something happened.
Because effectively he gets caught, right? He's completely still within the network of Tataland or whatever, and he can't get away, right? And he allows for Luffy to escape. It's kind of like a second kind of Pedro sacrifice or whatever, right? And then we see him in Wano just pop up right before Onigashima, right? And we're expecting him to be harmed, like maimed, effectively nerfed. I think that's what people are expecting, like that he'd be older or something like that. Like he would be nerfed because he's such a powerful character. I mean, people are like, okay, well, it's not the monster trio anymore. It's the monster quartet, right? But we don't get that. Jinbe is perfectly unharmed. It just seems like him and his pirate crew were able to get away. He just, effectively disbands the Sun Pirates, which I don't know why they just wouldn't go under the, Straw Hat Grand Fleet, but maybe it's because they don't have a relationship with Luffy, whatever. And then, yeah, I mean, that's effectively it. He joins the crew, he fights. And I think the real point of disrespect on Jinbe's name is that every time you have a new Straw Hat join the crew, they get a party. There is a party that celebrates their arrival to the crew. And I know everybody's like, oh, yeah, like, whatever. It's like the party trip or whatever. But it's true. Jinbe gets a party and nobody shows up. You know what I mean? Like nobody shows up. Like he's like, oh, I think they're like all like tired or still hurt or whatever. And it's like, why even do the party then? Bro? Like do a party on a ship or something. It doesn't have to necessarily be after the arc, but it's like, bro, like that's just so disrespectful to Jinbe.
Jinbe's old man. He don't need all that, man.
He's just sitting there like eating by himself.
Yeah,
like, hey,
chilling.
Dude, like just like save the crew, reunited with them. He's supposed to be like Luffy's like. I mean, I know his first hand man is Zoro, maybe second hand man is Sanji, but like that dude is supposed to be up there. Like Jinbe's like
that's Ankh, man.
Jinbe and
yeah, but Zoro and Sanji are like his best friends from college and high school type of thing.
Luffy
like
should be like
that's not Jinbe's relationship,
like, what do you think?
Bro.
Like Jinbe should be giving like sage wisdom and advice like constantly because it's like he's been there before. He's not like a slouch. He's traveled probably all over the world of One Piece just as by virtue of being a Shichibukai. At the very least, traveled all the. I mean, definitely traveled all over the Grand Line, but I'll even say the New World because he's got a relationship with Big Mom. So I mean, it's not like he's been there before. I mean, we can assume reasonably that he's been around Big Mom before. He knows his way around her kingdom. So
here's
I know that's a lot. That's a lot. Go ahead.
I feel that Jinbe is inspired by this youthful journey that Luffy is, enabling him to participate in, right? Like he now has had that opportunity. Like he's been a captain, he's been a Shichibukai, he's, done the things, been a part of a Yonko crew. And now he's just like, you know what? Like I am inspired by the jubilance and the excitement and the intensity of this journey that this young man has to go on. And I see something very powerful and inspiring about him because of everything that I had learned about him before I met him and everything that I've seen since meeting him. And I think that he really does just want to be there to participate and to witness this journey. And yes, to be a guiding force only when it is like absolutely necessary, right? And so I think that Jinbe has been tactful in the way that he has approached his advice to Luffy because, it's giving him an opportunity to see, well, let me just witness how this might unfold without me, trying to micromanage this whole experience, right? Let me just see how this might unfold. And if it does get intense or dangerous or whatever, I know I'm here to help, in the best ways that I can. And so I think that Jinbe is, playing his part well enough. I do agree with you. I didn't recall that like that was technically Jinbe's party and nobody showed up for it. Now that kind of makes me a little sad. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I did not think about it in that way because, in my mind, I was so wrapped up in it just being like the post-Wano, like Kaido's gone kind of party that I didn't even recognize. Like, yeah, that was technically Jinbe's first official party of being part of the Straw Hats. So, yeah, I'm absolutely sad about that one.
I mean, it's just crazy disrespect, bro. But here's the thing, dude. I mean, we talked about this with Usopp, but Jinbe feels like a character that has been added that doesn't quite fit. And what I mean when I say that is like, he is like, if it's just him and Luffy, he is the voice of like wisdom, right? Mm-hmm. But you can't have him do that in the context of the whole crew is together because it displaces Zoro. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, it's one of those kind of things where like, if you've noticed, you rarely see, at least so far, and I don't know, I got to go back and look at Egghead and see really kind of what the dynamics are, but like you see Zoro and Luffy a lot because they play well off of each other. And sometimes Zoro can be the voice of reason, or sometimes he's like an instigator, right? Or enables him. You don't really see Zoro, Jinbe, and Luffy, which I think would be like actually be pretty interesting. But like, I don't think that you're going to see that because Jinbe and Zoro more or less play similar roles. Like Jinbe has a little bit more wisdom and experience, a little bit more mature, whereas Zoro is also like very direct and kind of cutting, but like basically is like factual. You get what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate because like with the Usopp conversation, Usopp was displaced in terms of his role by Frankie and more or less kind of melted into the background. I think Jinbe can't like kind of compete with Zoro because Zoro is number 2, right? Even in like popularity polls, Zoro is like 2, and like almost always has been, except for certain instances where Law is. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because what we love so much about Jinbe, specifically when it was like crew separation, just Luffy and Jinbe and them interacting, and like their dynamic is so great and it's so interesting. And it's so, I mean, it's not paternal, but it is very like whatever the Unk version of that. It's very Unk, right?
Yeah.
But we just don't really get that in like this kind of new world, like really kind of post Wano, kind of dynamic that we have. And it's just unfortunate because I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy because like Jinbe almost has to be nerfed or at least not given it. I don't think we're going to see Jinbe get a power up, just to be real, which is unfortunate because like
maybe he's getting nerfed as the story goes on, or he's just old. He's just a vet.
Yeah, he's probably just old. He's a vet.
But he's
yeah.
that
Locker
old,
room
I
guy
mean,
now.
I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where it's
bench
like,
player.
I mean, keep in mind, like, just to kind of get back, but like, this dude Jinbe blocked a punch from Akainu, bro. Like, this was him.
Yeah.
This was him. He blocked a punch. I mean, he hurt himself, but he blocked a punch from Akainu to save Luffy. Like, this is who he is, bro. It's like, bro, like, Jinbe is that guy, but he's not really kind of getting that moment to shine because, you know, he kind of came in too high. Like, it's like, you know, World of Warcraft. I think maybe Brian and me definitely played this, and I'm going to bleep that out. Bash and me definitely played that. Like, basically, you would have like a new expansion, right? And the expansion would sometimes, you know, in order to like, the levels are too high, you know, the max cap right now is like 150 or something like that. Let's just bring everything back down to like 70, right? So it doesn't seem like it's crazy numbers that people have to grind up to or whatever, right? And we're just going to like level set. So the people who were at like 70 or maybe 60, they go down to 40. And the people who are at like 150, they go to 70, right?
Sounds like what they just did with the credit scores.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
but
go ahead.
But like what we're talking about, right, is like Jinbe was at like 150, right? And he's now been brought into the like the solar system of the crew and effectively has to be like nerfed and like have the stats changed in order to make it work where like the dynamic is still the same, which is Luffy's on top, which I mean arguably he could be, but like Luffy's on top, Zoro's second, Sanji's third, and then like Jinbe's somewhere around.
Is he though? Technically, bounties say Jinbe is third.
I know. But I gotta be honest, like,
fraction.
Sanji's always been kind of like getting like a short end of the stick, I think, with the bounties. But I don't know.
Sure.
Anyways,
he got his level up in Wano though. So
yeah, I think Sanji's definitely stronger. But yeah, I mean, I do like Jinbe. I'd like to see him get a power up. I don't think that we're going to see one. I think I just think that
I don't know if we'll see like quote unquote power up. We might just get further reveals of what he's capable of.
Yeah. And he might go
so
all
I
the
could
way.
See that happening.
Like we never seen Jinbe go turn it all the way up 100%. So we could see that, some type of thing like that. He's very similar to Garp. Like Garp, you don't really see him go crazy. I mean, you recently just saw it when he fought Aokiji,
yeah,
Kuzan.
So that fight was crazy, but you might see something similar out of Jinbe where we get some crazy fight like that, where he's fighting like a renowned villain and he has to go crazy.
I mean, I think that we'll get a nice showing, hopefully, from Jinbe in like the final arc where he's got to fight a God's Knight, because you just know there's going to be like some like racism against Fishman, and he's going to have to just like warp butt. I'm looking forward to that.
Racism.
I'm looking forward to that because I mean, you just it's already built in. It's going to be great, and like I think one thing that's, and I don't know, we've talked about this before, but like I need Oda to start writing the Straw Hats talking about their dreams more. I know that we're in the end game, but like that is such an integral part of the story, right? Like the first half was so, I don't know, just like romantic. And I don't mean romantic in like, sexy, whatever. I mean romantic in the sense of adventure and, Roman romantic, and epic and emotional.
I never heard adventure described as romantic before.
Well,
it's romance dawn.
You got to read more, buddy. You got to read some books. But anyway, so like, I mean, the first half of the series, and I don't know, maybe I'm just a One Piece purist, but like they talk about their dreams so often and like how they're all helping and working towards each other's dreams, and like Jinbe has an interesting one. Like there are some Straw Hats that their dreams aren't that interesting. Like Brooke wants to reunite with Laboon. Awesome, right? Like, I mean, Frankie wants to like build a ship or whatever. Like, okay, cool. Like that's whatever. That's fine, right? Or like he wants to like see his ship that he builds go, I guess, to like serve the Pirate King. So he wants them to be whatever, right?
Frankie's dream is whack. Okay, carry on.
Yeah. But Jinbe wants to like see a world reunited with like, or at least a world of like positive, like fisherman and human relations.
He's Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
Like, as far as we know, like we haven't seen
dream.
that. You know what I mean? Like I don't even think they've hinted in the world where it's like all the races like lived in harmony or whatever. I mean, I'm kind of curious why like fishermen kind of just, I don't know, are just disrespected. Where it's like you have like minks, which I guess are kind of hidden, or long arms and long necks and giant.
Like
not like everybody else. Like it's kind of like fine and like but fishermen kind of get like a little disrespectful,
exploited, and disrespected.
No love for the fishermen, bro.
Nah, but like he wants to see a world in which fishermen and humans can like live together on the surface. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, which I mean, I don't know. It's weird because like, yes, I agree. Like, yeah, humans and fishermen should live together, but at the same time, I'm like, but you guys are fish. Like, shouldn't you be in the water? Like, why would you want to live on the surface? You know what I mean? Like, isn't it better for you to be in the water? Like, what?
Jinbe.
I think it's more so of like the diplomatic relations.
Yeah, like they should be able to come to the surface and like, okay, cool. Which I think that they can. I don't know if there's anything that like stops them because like, I'm kind of curious. Like, we haven't seen like very many fishermen just walking around. Like, it seems like the only ones that we've seen, far between, to be real, are like
pirates.
I think Hack in the Revolutionary Army, and then Jinbe, like, and then obviously the R-line pirates who are basically like, kind of like supremacist terrorists. But
so it's like basically all pirates, pirates or something to that effect.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of funny.
Jinbe's not Martin Luther King Jr. He's Marlon Luther King Jr.
Not Marlon.
Nice. That's there. That's cute.
That's hilarious.
All right, but I mean, I do want to see Jinbe talking about a dream more. I think that like, one, it's just an essential aspect to all these character motivations. They have to talk about their dreams. It's really important. And I think it like connects him and Luffy more because like Luffy is now increasingly being propped to be like the savior of the world, right? And like Jinbe seeing him in his Nika form should maybe have some kind of reaction that like his dream of Luffy saving the world and bringing bringing humans and fishermen together is close at hand. Like he's supposed to bring the dawn. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's got to be like all the time, but I think that the reason why the fans have such like a strong reaction when we saw this a couple times in Wano, but like where a Straw Hat will outwardly exclaim, Luffy is going to be the king of the pirates. Like that hits so hard for like fans reading that because it affirms, one, like what's the point of the show or what's the point of the manga? But two, it's like it strengthened that sense of they have a real bond and believe in each other, right? And maybe the idea is to use it sparingly, whatever. But like, I do think we should get dream drops, right? It's a moment.
Dream drops.
Pat, I'm trademarking that phrase.
You don't get to trademark that. You're going to have the whole social casino community popping up on our live stream. Talking, did somebody say dream drop?
That's hilarious. But like, yeah, I mean, like, I think that you need that just as much as you need like the occasional affirmation of like Luffy, like, is going to be the king of the pirates. And specifically, to some degree from like the lesser Straw Hats, because I think those are the most important ones. Because obviously, like, Zoro and Sanji are fighting for Luffy, so they believe that. But I don't know. I mean,
So
yeah.
I feel the sense of nostalgia and the desire to hear more about the dreams during this, post time skip era. What I am doing my due diligence to respect out of what Oda is trying to articulate here is that pre-time skip is where we got to really embrace that romance of the adventure and the dreams and that storytelling as far as that internal motivation and those aspirations. Second half, I think, we had an early transition period, right, where we were kind of like moving through the defining of those dreams and seeing how those dreams clash with this real, this new world. But then as it continued on, right, like we really start to see that, this second portion of this series is absolutely about the world building and the deeper lore at play. And so I think that there's just so much exposition and things to talk about in that regard that makes it very challenging to emphasize or put focus on those dreams that were really, focused in on during the first half, during the pre-time skip era. And so I do feel you, I would love to see a bit more of that as well, because I think it would just reignite a bit of that spark that I think many of us have felt is missing from post time skip. But at the same time, narratively, I understand why it is being structured in the way that it is.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's fair. Oh, Bash, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say I agree. That post time skip. I mean, some of them are maybe living their dreams, or they're getting closer to their dreams. So maybe it's not mentioned as much anymore, but because they're so focused on it. But yeah, I think it would be good to get a nugget of them talking about their dreams every now and then, like you said.
Like, because here's the thing, right? It's like they're going to achieve their dreams by the end of the series. But like, if you don't prime it with post time skip, kind of like references or drops or moments or whatever, it's going to feel like a forgotten thing. Like, oh yeah, that's right. Like Brooke did want to go see Laboon. Oh yeah, that's right. Like Nami did want to, get maps of the entire world. Oh yeah, that's right. Like Sanji did care about All Blue. It's like, I gotta be honest, I don't even think he said All Blue, specifically Sanji, since maybe Fishman Island. I think he might have said it then. He hasn't said it since. And it's like, it's so easy to forget that they have dreams. And it's I don't know, it's so important, right? And it, Mr. Wilderfree, to your point, you don't have to go ham on it, but I do think that you can just do like little like moments where it's appropriate. Because I mean, the reason why, like, a lot of the fan base reacted so positively to even Robin going back to her old hairstyle and reuniting with Saul was, not only just for the nostalgia of it, but like, story wise, it just had a lot of meaning, and like it felt like a full circle moment for her character again, getting back to her backstory again, getting back to like everything that's made her and her like character arc, all these different things. And it's like, I think sometimes like maybe Oda, maybe sometimes the fans can assume that like these character arcs are over, right? Like that they are fully formed characters, that they're not still evolving, and that they can just be static as like the larger story expands. But I don't know. I don't think that that's true. I mean, these people are going through unique adventures that like test and challenge them, and specifically some that are like deeply relevant to like their character and who they are. I mean, not for nothing getting into the Sanji whole cake thing and like his, aspect with his family. I mean, even continue with Wano, with him, effectively questioning his own humanity. In the case of, let's say, Nami and Jinbe, you had a nice moment where like they had like kind of like a cathartic kind of forgiveness moment where like Jinbe apologized for I think it was in there, it might have been Fishman, but like I think it's Fishman apologized for like effectively like the harm that the Fishman pirates had done, like, because obviously he was like, I guess, kind of like a leader that didn't kind of handle that, and they ran amok within East Blue. But yeah, I don't know. I think that like it would be nice to see more personal character development moments from the Straw Hat crew. And I think in Elbath, I mean, we've talked about this before, but like it's got to be Usopp's moment. It just has to.
Yeah.
It just.
Well, let me ask you guys this before we get back into Usopp.
Yeah.
And just to touch on the Robin thing as well, I thought that was super full circle moment, very heartfelt.
Very much.
I cried reading that. But have you guys ever thought that maybe all of their dreams are intertwined within each other's dreams as a whole, as a crew? Right now, they're focusing on Luffy, getting to his dream and fulfilling his dream, which then I think is a domino effect as far as the rest of them fulfilling their own dreams. So
I mean,
maybe that's
absolutely.
another reason why.
I got a feeling though that like at the end of the series, I think we'll get a time skip, and I think that we'll get a time skip in which like either they are continuing their dreams. So, for instance, like I don't think Nami will have mapped the world by the time that we get to the series end. I think that'll be a time skip that like she's still actively like traveling around and like being greedy or whatever.
Yeah.
While also mapping the world, right?
Yeah.
I think Sanji might get all blue, but I'm really kind of curious to see like what will happen with this like sea level rising thing, and like whether that means that like is the sea level going to go down to like reveal like all these different places of the world, and like if that's the case, then like what does that mean for all blue? Because effectively that kind of kills it a little bit.
Right.
So if they get more water, he gets more fish.
Yeah, I mean, if there's more water, but the problem is that like I don't think they're going to get more water because effectively you'd be like drowning islands. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I don't know if it's kind of curious because like they've effectively said like there is like tons of land like underneath the water like that have been flooded. So like at some point that has to be made accessible. But I do kind of question. I'm like, okay, well, that kind of kills his dream then a little bit, right? I don't know, but whatever. Anyway.
No, I think that the world of One Piece is so expansive. There's just so many opportunities to introduce some kind of hidden water
it's like a
system
river or something like that runs the world.
You know?
Like it has all the fish in it or something. I don't know, whatever. But,
and actually knowing Oda, like he's very much tapped into like real world meta and real world inspiration, right? Like there's a chance that he picks up on the like news that they were talking about recently where they're saying that there are oceans worth of water underneath the surface of, the tectonic plates and all of that stuff. So it's like, that's a fascinating take that he might incorporate in some way. Say, for instance, if they do get to the end of the series and somehow make the water levels reduce.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think that...
Yeah. I guess I'm just saying, like, I think that, like, by the end of the series, like, I think we can expect, like, some Straw Hats to be actively working on their dreams. And I think maybe some other Straw Hats to be, like, having completed it and, have found, like, some kind of peace or whatever. Hopefully, maybe they're all still traveling together. I don't know. But I think if we could do...
Hopefully.
I think if we do get a time skip, I don't think that they will be. Like, I think that they'll eventually, like, disband and just kind of do their own thing. I think they'll stop being pirates. It's kind of like very, like, Samurai Champloo, where it's, like, they achieve... Hopefully, you guys have seen that, but, like, they achieve their goal.
Yeah.
They just split up. You know what I mean? They just go do their own.
Yeah.
I think it'll be kind of something like that. After some time traveling together. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, hopefully Uso gets his moment. Maybe,
hopefully.
Chopper. I mean, again,
we need Usopp to get his moment, bro.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Hopefully Chopper things about
Chopper 2.
You say what?
Yeah,
Chopper 2, bro. I mean, we want to see him. I want to see him get a power up, whether it be some sort of medicine or like another like fighting power.
I want him to get a Sulong form. I mean,
that would be weird. Like, I mean, he's not technically a mink.
I know, but it's like he has like medicine. Like he's able to basically artificially allow for Beppo to go Sulong just from eating like a Rumble Ball or whatever, right? Like I feel like he can make a concoction where like he can access a Sulong form.
I mean, that's like his monster point.
I think his monster point should be his Sulong form. I think it should be like even bigger, like basically whatever.
But Bash, to answer your question,
or like awakening or something. It's like you're a Zoan. It's like he's awakened. You know what I mean? Like
actually, that would be fascinating.
That would be fascinating.
He should have a Rumble Ball.
An awakened Chopper.
3 fucking Rumble Balls. He fucking awakens
with the cloud cloak. Oh my goodness!
He like ODs on Rumble Bars. He just like punches a bunch of them.
Right.
I think he's been like Rumble Ball was like hollow, so he would just like bite into it, and then it's like,
oh yeah.
Does that like release like a gas or something? What is that?
No taste.
Oh.
It's hilarious. But yeah, Bash, to bring it back to your point about like the dreams being intertwined, right? Like I absolutely think that that's what it is, right? Like the way that they are all articulated their dreams, it really does make it so that Luffy's dream of becoming the Pirate King is the fulcrum for all of their actions, right? Like
Yeah.
if Nami wants to chart the world, right, as a navigator, obviously being on the Pirate King's crew will get her the furthest in
Correct.
order to accomplish that dream. Same thing with Jinbe. If he wants world peace and he wants to unify, the humans and the fishmen, right? If he is on the Pirate King's team, that's going to give him a level of status and stature that would
Correct.
allow him to speak in a certain way. It'll allow them to dismantle the current systems at play that would,
Right.
prevent that from happening. Same thing with, Sanji. Like if he wants to reach all blue, obviously he has the better chance of getting there on the Pirate King's team. Same thing with Zoro being the number one swordsman in the world. So it all does hinge on Luffy's dream. And I think that, they've done well enough to articulate it in that way so that now as they're all moving closer and closer towards this thing, naturally they are all still in the pursuits of their individual dreams.
Yep, I agree. Makes sense.
All right. I think that's a good one to go out on. How you guys feel?
For sure.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. This has been Anime Parlay. It is your boy Killer Cam reporting out. Next up.
Peace and blessings. Wild and free here. You already know.
Bash catch 'em. Love.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Do the like, don't dislike. Don't you dare dislike. Don't you dare dislike.
Hit that like and subscribe.
Hit that like button right now if you've made it this far and you haven't already.
Smash it.
Leave a comment. Talk crap about us. I'll respond and I'll talk crap about you and it'll be fun.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we'll
Tell me about my hairline.
Your camera is so blurry, bro. I barely even know you have a thing out. It's crazy. That's
hilarious.
Anyways, all right. So yeah, we got chapter coming next week. Hopefully we can kind of discuss a little bit early. I'd love to do like a Thursday, like little, like just check in, just talk about it, and then get it out.
For sure.
Friday. I think that'd be dope. We'll see what happens. I mean, maybe we'll get some blood from Loki. Hopefully, we'll see. But anyways,
ooh,
yeah,
all right.
It's been real. All love for Jinbe, the GOAT.
We love you, Jinbe.
Word.
You rock
What's
with
up?
you,
Yeah.
Y'all seen him?
Hey, young Jinbe.
Indeed.
Goated.
What's up, y'all?
All right,
so
till next time. Peace.
yes, sir.